Why do we have more comfort than any generation before us, yet feel constantly overwhelmed? Why does modern life feel louder, faster, and heavier every single year? And why do the calmest, strongest people always seem to live simpler lives? We are living in a world that never stops demanding our attention. Notifications, opinions, endless choices, constant comparison. All of it pulls at your mind, fragmenting your focus and draining your inner strength. You don't feel exhausted because you are weak. You feel exhausted because your mind is never allowed to rest. The chaos is not just around you, it slowly moves inside you, shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions. The Stoics understood this long before modern life existed. They didn't chase more. They didn't glorify complexity. They chose simplicity, not as an escape, but as a strategy for clarity, discipline, and inner freedom. In a chaotic world, living a simple life is not a step backward. It is the smartest move you can make. Part 1. Chaos is not outside you. It's inside you. Most people believe their stress comes from the world around them, from the news, from work pressure, from responsibilities piling up, from a life that feels too much. But this belief is incomplete and dangerously misleading. The world has always been chaotic. Wars, economic uncertainty, illness, loss. None of this is new. What is new is how deeply chaos has entered the human mind. Today, your attention is constantly under attack. Your phone vibrates before your thoughts can settle. Your mind jumps from one stimulus to another without ever landing. Over time, this trains you to live reactively, not intentionally. The Stoics made a sharp distinction between what happens to you and what happens within you. Marcus Aurelius warned that it is not external events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. In other words, the noise of the world only becomes chaos when your mind lacks structure. When there is no inner order, every notification feels urgent, every opinion feels personal, and every problem feels overwhelming. This is why two people can live in the same world, face similar pressures, yet experience life completely differently. One feels constantly anxious and scattered. The other remains calm, focused, and grounded. The difference is not circumstances, it is inner discipline. Modern life rewards distraction. It profits from keeping you overstimulated, emotionally reactive, and mentally fragmented. The more inputs you consume, the less clarity you possess. Over time, this erosion of clarity weakens your ability to think clearly, choose deliberately, and act with purpose. And you begin reacting instead of deciding. You scroll instead of reflecting. You escape instead of confronting. Stoicism teaches that a disordered mind cannot experience peace, no matter how comfortable the external conditions are. A life filled with options but lacking direction leads to exhaustion. A life filled with information but lacking wisdom leads to confusion. Complexity multiplies problems because it multiplies desires, expectations, and emotional dependencies. A simple life begins with a difficult realization. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves engagement. Not every stimulus requires a reaction. Simplicity, at its core, is the act of reclaiming authority over your inner world. It is the refusal to let chaos dictate your mental state. When you simplify your inputs, your mind begins to breathe again. When you reduce unnecessary noise, your thoughts regain depth. When you stop reacting to everything, you regain control over yourself. This is not about withdrawing from life. It is about choosing how you participate in it. The Stoics did not aim to escape the world. They aimed to remain unshaken by it, and they understood a fundamental truth. A calm mind is not found in a quiet world. It is built through discipline, restraint, and simplicity. Part 2. Why Stoics chose simplicity over more. In the modern world, more is treated like a virtue. More success, more possessions, more stimulation, more validation. We are taught, often subtly, that adding more to our lives will eventually bring fulfillment. Yet the Stoics observed something deeply uncomfortable. The more you depend on external things to feel complete, the more fragile you become. This is why Stoicism never glorified excess. It treated simplicity not as a sacrifice, but as a form of intelligence. For the Stoics, life was not about accumulation. It was about alignment. They asked a different question than most people ask today. Not, how can I get more, but what is truly necessary to live well? Everything beyond that was seen as optional, sometimes useful, often distracting, so infrequently dangerous to inner peace. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, yet constantly reminded himself to live plainly. He warned that luxury weakens the soul and that comfort, when unchecked, dulls discipline. His journals reveal a man actively resisting excess, not because he despised pleasure, but because he understood its cost. The more you rely on external comforts, the less capable you are of standing firm when they are taken away. Seneca went even further. Despite his wealth, he practiced voluntary simplicity. He deliberately ate simple food, wore modest clothing, and lived below his means at times. Why? Because he wanted to ensure that his happiness did not depend on conditions he could not control. To the Stoics, simplicity was a form of training. It prepared the mind for uncertainty, loss, and change. This is where modern thinking often gets it wrong. Simplicity is mistaken for minimalism as an aesthetic, or poverty as a moral ideal. Stoicism teaches neither. Simplicity is strategic. It is the conscious reduction of unnecessary desires so that your energy can be directed toward what truly matters: character, clarity, and virtue. When you want less, fewer things can disturb you. When you expect less from the world, you are less likely to feel betrayed by it. This does not make you passive, it makes you resilient. A person who needs little is difficult to manipulate, difficult to intimidate, and difficult to break. The Stoics also understood something timeless. Complexity multiplies obligations. Every additional desire creates another potential disappointment. Every added attachment introduces another source of anxiety. And by simplifying their lives, Stoics reduced the number of emotional hooks the world could use against them. In practical terms, this meant fewer possessions to worry about, fewer opinions to impress, and fewer distractions competing for attention. This created space, not emptiness, but room for reflection, self-command, and deliberate action. Simplicity allowed the Stoic to move through life with steadiness instead of urgency. Choosing simplicity was never about retreating from responsibility. It was about refusing to be enslaved by excess. The Stoics believed that true wealth is measured by how little you need to remain calm, focused, and honorable. In a chaotic world, simplicity becomes a shield. While others are overwhelmed by endless demands, the Stoic stands anchored. While others chase more and feel perpetually behind, the Stoic moves deliberately, knowing that clarity is worth far more than accumulation. This is why simplicity, for the Stoics, was not a limitation. It was power. Part 3. A simple life gives you mental clarity. Mental clarity is rare today, not because people are incapable of thinking, but because their minds are constantly occupied. Modern life keeps you busy reacting, consuming, and responding, leaving little room for reflection. When your attention is scattered across too many inputs, clarity becomes impossible. This is where simplicity reveals its true power. A simple life removes mental clutter before it turns into emotional exhaustion. Every unnecessary commitment, distraction, or expectation takes a small piece of your focus. Over time, these pieces add up. You may not notice the loss immediately, but you feel its effects. confusion, indecision, irritability, and chronic fatigue. Clarity does not disappear suddenly. It erodes slowly. The Stoics understood that the mind requires order in the same way the body requires structure. Without boundaries, both become weak. A simple life provides those boundaries. It limits what enters your mind so that what remains can be understood deeply rather than processed superficially. Simplicity does not reduce your thinking. It sharpens it. Epictetus taught that freedom begins with mastery of attention. If you allow everything to demand your focus, you surrender control of your inner world. A mind that chases every stimulus cannot think clearly because it is always in motion. Simplicity slows the mind down. It creates stillness, and in stillness, clarity emerges. Consider how most people make decisions today. They rush, they multitask, they respond emotionally rather than rationally. Into their choices are influenced by noise, opinions, trends, comparisons, instead of principles. This leads to lives that feel busy but directionless. Stoicism offers an alternative. Reduce the noise, then decide from a place of calm understanding. A simple life makes it easier to see what truly matters. When your schedule is not overcrowded, you can distinguish urgency from importance. When your environment is not overloaded, your thoughts regain depth. When your desires are fewer, your priorities become clearer. This clarity is not abstract. It translates directly into better decisions, stronger boundaries, and more intentional action. Clarity also protects you emotionally. Many people feel overwhelmed not because life is unbearable, but because they try to process too much at once. Simplicity reduces emotional overload by narrowing your focus. Instead of reacting to everything, you choose what deserves your response. This creates emotional stability, which the Stoics saw as a sign of strength, not detachment. Living simply does not mean withdrawing from responsibility or ambition. It means removing what distracts you from your purpose. The Stoics believed that a focused mind is capable of enduring hardship without losing itself. Clarity allows you to face challenges without panic, criticism without collapse, and uncertainty without paralysis. There is also a quiet confidence that comes with clarity. When your mind is not crowded, you trust your judgment more. You second-guess yourself less. You no longer need constant reassurance from others because your values guide you. And this internal alignment replaces anxiety with steadiness. You know where you stand, even when the world feels unstable. Simplicity, then, becomes an act of self-respect. It signals that your attention is valuable and not available to everything that demands it. By choosing simplicity, you protect your mental space. And by protecting your mental space, you protect your ability to think clearly, act wisely, and live deliberately. The Stoics believed that clarity is not found by adding answers, but by removing distractions. In a world that grows louder every year, simplicity becomes the gateway to a calm, ordered, and resilient mind. And a clear mind, once established, becomes one of the greatest advantages a person can possess. Part 4. Simplicity is a form of self-discipline. Many people misunderstand simplicity because they associate it with ease. They imagine a quiet life, free of effort, pressure, or responsibility. But from a Stoic perspective, simplicity is not softness, it is restraint, and restraint requires discipline. Choosing simplicity means you willingly limit yourself in a world that constantly encourages excess. It means saying no when saying yes would be easier. It means resisting impulses that promise comfort but steal long-term strength. This is why simplicity is not a passive lifestyle choice. It is an active practice of self-command. The Stoics believed that freedom begins with self-discipline. Without it, you are ruled by appetite, distraction, and emotion. Simplicity creates the conditions for discipline by reducing temptation. When your life is cluttered with unnecessary options, discipline must fight constantly just to survive. When your life is simple, discipline has space to grow. Consider how often people exhaust themselves not from effort, but from indecision. Too many choices, too many commitments, too many inputs. Each one demands a decision, a reaction, a piece of willpower. Over time, this leads to decision fatigue and emotional weakness. Simplicity removes these drains. It narrows your focus so that your discipline can be applied where it truly matters. Stoicism teaches that strength is built through deliberate restraint. You do not prove your power by indulging every desire, but by mastering them. A simple life supports this mastery. Fewer possessions mean fewer distractions. Fewer obligations mean clearer priorities. Fewer desires mean fewer internal conflicts pulling you in different directions. Self-discipline also involves resisting social pressure. Modern culture rewards constant visibility, consumption, and validation. Simplicity often looks like refusal. Refusal to compete. Refusal to impress. Refusal to chase approval. This refusal is not arrogance, it is alignment with one's values. A disciplined person does not need excess to feel complete. They do not depend on stimulation to feel alive. They are capable of sitting with discomfort, boredom, and silence without escaping. Simplicity trains this capacity. When you strip life down to what is essential, you are forced to confront yourself. This confrontation is where discipline is forged. There is also a moral dimension to simplicity. The Stoics viewed discipline as a form of integrity. And to live simply is to live honestly, without unnecessary decoration or deception. You are no longer hiding behind accumulation or busyness. Your actions become clearer. Your values become visible. Your character stands exposed and strengthened. Simplicity demands consistency. It is easy to remove one distraction for a day. It is harder to do so repeatedly. Discipline is not built in moments of inspiration, but in daily decisions that go unnoticed. Each time you choose less when more is available, you reinforce control over yourself. This control compounds. Importantly, simplicity does not reject ambition, it refines it. The Stoics were not opposed to achievement, but they believed that achievement should never come at the cost of inner order. A disciplined life allows ambition to be guided by reason instead of restlessness. You pursue what is meaningful, not what is merely available. When simplicity and discipline work together, they create stability. You are less reactive because fewer things provoke you. You are less anxious because fewer things demand you. You are less dependent because fewer things define you. This stability becomes a quiet strength that others can sense, even if they cannot explain it. In a world that equates freedom with unlimited choice, Stoicism offers a harder truth. Real freedom comes from self-limitation. Simplicity is not the absence of discipline, it is its foundation. And a disciplined life, once established, becomes one of the most reliable sources of calm, confidence, and inner power. Part 5. Why simplicity makes you emotionally unshakable. Emotional instability rarely comes from events themselves. It comes from attachment. The more things you need to go your way in order to feel okay, the more fragile you become. This is one of the clearest insights of Stoicism, and one of the reasons simplicity creates such powerful emotional resilience. A simple life reduces emotional dependence. When your happiness is tied to fewer possessions, fewer outcomes, and fewer opinions, there are simply fewer ways for the world to hurt you. This does not make you cold or indifferent. It makes you grounded. You're no longer pulled up and down by every shift in circumstance. Modern life trains people to attach their emotions to things outside their control. Status, validation, comfort, and constant stimulation become emotional crutches. When any of these are threatened, anxiety rises, anger follows, fear takes over. The Stoics saw this clearly. They understood that emotional strength is not about suppressing feelings, but about removing unnecessary emotional leverage from the external world. Simplicity does exactly that. It weakens the grip that external conditions have on your inner state. When you expect less, you are disappointed less. When you desire less, you fear loss less. When you need less, you are controlled less. This is not pessimism. It is emotional realism. An emotionally unshakable person is not someone who never feels pain. It is someone who recovers quickly because their identity and peace are not scattered across too many fragile things. Simplicity concentrates your emotional energy. Instead of being spread thin across countless attachments, it is anchored in character, values, and self-command. This is why Stoics practiced detachment, not from life, but from excess emotional investment. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you care wisely. You engage fully in what you can control, while accepting uncertainty where you cannot. Simplicity supports this balance by limiting the number of emotional hooks that can pull you off center. Consider how easily people are shaken today. A comment online, a delayed response, a minor inconvenience. These reactions are not signs of weakness of character alone, but of overstimulation and overattachment. When your life is crowded, your emotions have no space to settle. Simplicity creates that space. There is also a quiet emotional confidence that comes from needing little. When you are not desperate for approval, their rejection loses its power. When you are not addicted to comfort, discomfort becomes tolerable. When you are not chasing constant pleasure, boredom no longer feels threatening. This emotional steadiness is deeply attractive and deeply rare. Stoicism teaches that resilience is built before adversity arrives. Simplicity is part of that preparation. By voluntarily reducing dependence on external conditions, you train yourself to remain steady when life inevitably becomes difficult. Loss, change, and uncertainty no longer feel catastrophic. They feel manageable. Emotionally unshakable people are not those who harden themselves against feeling. They are those who simplify their emotional landscape. They choose fewer battles, fewer expectations, fewer sources of self-worth. In doing so, they preserve their inner equilibrium. Simplicity also allows emotions to pass without escalation. When life is not overcrowded, a setback does not cascade into a crisis. You feel frustration, but it does not become despair. You feel disappointment, but it does not become bitterness. Emotional responses remain proportional instead of overwhelming. In a chaotic world, emotional strength is not built by adding armor. It is built by removing unnecessary weight. Simplicity lightens the emotional load you carry every day, and the lighter that load becomes, the steadier you stand. The Stoics understood this deeply. The fewer things you need to be at peace, the harder it is for life to shake you. Simplicity does not make life smaller. It makes your inner foundation stronger, and from that foundation, emotional resilience naturally grows. Part 6. The cost of complexity in modern life. Complexity is often marketed as progress. More tools, more options, more connections, more information, all presented as improvements. Yet few people stop to calculate the hidden cost of this complexity. Stoicism invites you to do exactly that, because what looks like advancement on the surface often results in quiet psychological debt. Modern life is not just complex, it is aggressively complex. Every system competes for your attention. Every platform demands engagement. Every choice multiplies into 10 more. This constant expansion creates a mental environment where rest feels unproductive and stillness feels uncomfortable. Over time, this rewires the mind to crave stimulation and fear silence. One of the greatest costs of complexity is decision fatigue. When you are forced to make hundreds of small, unnecessary decisions every day, your capacity for good judgment weakens. You may still function, but you no longer function optimally. Important decisions are rushed. Emotional reactions replace thoughtful responses. Energy is spent managing noise instead of directing life. Complexity also fragments identity. When you play too many roles, chase too many goals, and respond to too many expectations, it becomes difficult to know who you are without external reference points. This creates a subtle form of anxiety, the feeling that you are constantly behind, constantly adapting, and never fully grounded. Stoicism warns against this scattered existence. A person without inner coherence cannot experience lasting peace. Another cost is chronic dissatisfaction. Complexity inflates desire, as it exposes you to endless comparisons and alternative paths, making what you have feel insufficient. Even when things go well, the mind wonders what else could have been chosen. This erodes gratitude and replaces it with restlessness. The Stoics saw this as a trap. When desire expands faster than fulfillment, contentment becomes impossible. Complexity also weakens resilience. When life is built around convenience and abundance, even minor disruptions feel threatening. A delayed plan, a lost comfort, a change in routine. These small disturbances can provoke disproportionate stress. Stoicism teaches that strength comes from preparedness, not from insulation. A complex life insulates you from difficulty until you are no longer capable of handling it. There is also a social cost. Complexity encourages performance over authenticity, and you curate identities, manage impressions, and maintain constant visibility. This creates pressure to appear successful rather than to be grounded. Relationships become transactional, conversations become shallow. The Stoics valued simplicity in social life because it allowed for honesty, depth, and sincerity, qualities that complexity tends to erode. Perhaps the most dangerous cost of complexity is loss of agency. When your life is crowded with obligations you did not consciously choose, you begin living reactively. Systems dictate your schedule, algorithms shape your attention, expectations define your priorities. Stoicism calls this a form of quiet enslavement. If you do not simplify intentionally, complexity will simplify you by reducing your freedom. Simplicity, by contrast, reveals how much of modern complexity is optional. Many pressures are self-imposed. Many distractions are voluntary. Many anxieties are the result of overexposure rather than necessity. When you remove what is non-essential, you regain time, energy, and clarity. Life becomes manageable again, not because it is easy, but because it is aligned. The Stoics did not reject the world. They rejected unnecessary complication. They understood that life already contains enough difficulty without adding artificial burdens. Complexity often disguises itself as ambition, productivity, or connection, but it frequently delivers the opposite: burnout, confusion, and emotional instability. In a chaotic world, choosing simplicity is an act of intelligence. It protects your attention, preserves your energy, and restores your sense of control. The cost of complexity is not paid all at once, and it is paid gradually, in lost focus, weakened judgment, and diminished peace. Stoicism urges you to notice this cost before it becomes your default condition. Part 7. How to start living a simpler Stoic life. Simplicity does not begin with a dramatic escape from society. It begins with a series of deliberate, often uncomfortable choices. Stoicism never asks you to change everything at once. It asks you to act with intention, one decision at a time. The first step is to reduce your inputs. Modern life floods your mind with information, opinions, and stimulation. Not all of it is harmful, but much of it is unnecessary. Every input you allow in competes for your attention and shapes your emotional state. A Stoic approach starts by asking a hard question. Does this strengthen my character, or does it distract it? If it does neither, it is likely noise. Reducing inputs means limiting constant news consumption, mindless scrolling, and reactive communication. It means choosing when you engage instead of being available at all times. This is not withdrawal, it is boundary setting. When your mind is not constantly interrupted, it regains the ability to think clearly and respond deliberately. The second step is to clarify what is essential. Simplicity is not about having nothing. It is about knowing what matters. The Stoics believed that a good life is guided by a small number of core principles, virtues that remain stable regardless of circumstance. When you are clear on what is essential, everything else becomes secondary. Ask yourself, what are the few responsibilities, relationships, and pursuits that genuinely deserve my energy? Write them down. Be honest. Most people are surprised by how short the list becomes. Once you know what is essential, you can begin removing commitments that dilute your focus. This process often feels uncomfortable because it requires letting go of obligations you once accepted without reflection. The third step is to detach from noise, especially social and emotional noise. Opinions, comparisons, and trends have a powerful influence on behavior. Stoicism teaches that most of this influence is outside your control, and therefore not worth surrendering your peace to. Detachment does not mean ignoring the world. It means refusing to let the world dictate your inner state. Practically, this means limiting comparison, reducing exposure to performative social environments, and resisting the urge to constantly explain yourself. A simpler Stoic life values quiet consistency over public validation. When you stop performing, you regain energy. When you stop comparing, you regain confidence. Next comes simplifying your daily structure. Chaos often hides in schedules that lack rhythm. Stoics favored routine not because it was rigid, but because it reduced unnecessary decisions. A simple routine conserves mental energy for meaningful action. This might mean fixed times for work, reflection, physical movement, and rest. The goal is not optimization, but stability. Another critical practice is voluntary discomfort. Simplicity grows stronger when you occasionally choose less comfort than is available. This could mean eating simpler meals, embracing silence, or resisting impulsive consumption. These small acts train independence from external conditions. They remind you that peace does not depend on convenience. Finally, simplicity requires ongoing review. And the Stoics practiced regular reflection to ensure their lives remained aligned with their values. Once a week, ask yourself, what added complexity to my life recently? What can be removed? Simplicity is not achieved once, it is maintained through attention. Importantly, this path is not about perfection. Complexity will return if left unexamined. Simplicity must be chosen repeatedly. Each choice strengthens your ability to live deliberately rather than reactively. A simpler Stoic life does not make you smaller. It makes you clearer. It does not limit your potential. It protects it. By reducing what is unnecessary, you make room for what is meaningful. And in a chaotic world, that clarity becomes a quiet but profound advantage. In a world that grows louder, faster, and more demanding every day, choosing a simple life is not about running away. It is about standing your ground. Throughout this video, we explored a core Stoic truth. Chaos does not come from the world itself, but from how much of it we allow inside our minds. Simplicity is the discipline of choosing clarity over noise, intention over impulse, and inner strength over endless accumulation. The Stoics showed us that living with less is not a loss. It is a gain of focus, emotional resilience, and self-command. By reducing unnecessary desires, distractions, and attachments, you reclaim control over your thoughts and actions. You become harder to overwhelm, harder to manipulate, and harder to break. But this philosophy only becomes powerful when it is practiced. Start small. Remove one distraction and say no to one unnecessary commitment. Create a little more space in your day and in your mind. Simplicity is built through daily choices, not dramatic changes. Thank you for spending this time reflecting with me. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to continue building a stronger Stoic mindset in a chaotic world, subscribe and join me in the next video. Until then, choose clarity.